me, Jonah, and today I'll be showing you how to make this summer crochet lacy wrap. And this wrap is the only wrap you'll need all year round. You can see the beautiful stitching throughout. It's a wave design with one row to create lace and one row to create stability. And here it is from the back. It is generously sized. It is 68 inches one way and 24 inches the other. So it's great for all seasons. And the yarn I used are Caron Cakes, and this is the colorway Lavender Cake. And I enjoy using Caron Cakes because they're great for beginners and for advanced crocheters because it's a self-striping yarn, so you get the great look of many colors without having to change colors, which saves you a lot of hassle. And I have a couple other options of Caron Cakes since they come in so many different colors to show you. First up, we have Fairy Cake, which is one of my personal favorites. Pistachio is another option. Bumbleberry, Red Velvet, Cherry Chip, Strawberry Trifle, and there are so many more, so you can have fun and try all different Caron Cakes out. But if you don't want to use Caron Cakes, you can use whatever you have at home. Another great option would be Caron Simply Soft. I love Caron Simply Soft because of the sheen and the smoothness of your stitching, but any worsted weight 4-weight would be a great substitute for this wrap. And you'll, of course, need a 5.5mm crochet hook. I'm using one of my favorite hooks. It's my Furls Lime with the nickel tip, so the yarn goes through so smoothly and the stitches turn out perfectly. And, of course, a scissors and a tape measure. And another tip, which I'll explain to you later, is it'll be nice to have a good-sized piece of cardboard with you when we're working the fringe, but I'll explain that to you a little later. So now, let's hop in to our summer shawl tutorial. Before I begin to show you how to make this wrap, I should also tell you that I'm a fast crocheter, so when I'm teaching people how to crochet a certain stitch or a certain project, I like to work several repetitions of what you need to work slowly and then speed up. Because luckily on YouTube, you can go back and rewind and rewatch it as many times as you need and then move on. Because I'm a fast crocheter, like I said, so I do not like crocheting slowly. And another thing is this is not a beginner pattern. It's an easier pattern, but since it has a wave design and a more stability row, it's not the best for a beginner. But if you do want a beginner pattern, I have the perfect tutorial on my YouTube. It's called the Pickler Hat, and that hat is the best thing for a beginner. It works up very quickly. I can make one in 46 minutes, uses a chunky yarn, a big hook, and it whips up so quick, and it's a great hat that has some extra design in it too. And a couple other things to note before I begin is today I'll be showing you how to demonstrate the stitch pattern in a solid color. I'm going to be using Caron Simply Soft in the color Harvest Red because in the original pattern on yarnspirations.com they use a solid color. And if you want the original pattern, like I said, it's on yarnspirations.com. And a couple things I have to note before I begin are some things in the pattern. First is that your wrap is going to be worked long widthwise, so you're going to be crocheting 24 inches but 68 inches across. And it is a foundation chain based on 12 chains plus 3, so you can customize it to any length you'd like. And once you get through row 2 and 3, it's a repeat, so it's really quite a breeze going through your wrap. And the fringe, it's a really nice touch. It adds some texture, and you can really play around with it. I varied mine. What I did is I added quite a bit more fringe. I added more sections of fringe, and instead of holding 2 together, I held 5 together because it's very trendy right now to have that thicker, have less of them, but have thicker strings because it's almost like a tassel fringe, and I think that looks really nice with your lacy wrap. And you probably don't want to cut a lot of 14-inch strands. So a tip for you is to have a 7-inch piece of cardboard, and then you'll just have to wrap around it over and over again, lay it down, snip it, pull this up, and boom, you have as many strands as you need, so you don't have to go through the work of cutting all of them. But without further ado, let's begin, and I'm going to show you how to make this wrap. So, got my 5.5 Odyssey lime hook. And our first step is to do the setup row. And the foundation of this project is worked with a 12 chain. Repeat that as many times as you like, and then a chain 3. So I'm going to start by creating my slip knot. You can do this whichever way you'd like. And now I'm going to start by chaining a set of 12 to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and that is enough for one repetition. And for the sample in this tutorial, I'm going to do 24 chains plus my extra 3, so another set of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I've just completed 24 chains, which is the length I'm going to have. But if you want to do the exact pattern on yarnspirations.com, that'll be 159 chains. But make sure to make them loose, because we'll be turning our chain over and working into the back loop for a nice straight arrowed edge on the bottom of our work. So I've done my set of 12 plus another set of 12. So your next step is the chain 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. I have done 27 chains from my sample. And next, for our first row, which is going to be the right side, we're going to double crochet 2 together. We're going to double crochet 3 together over the 4th chain from the hook, and then the next 2. So we're going to yarn over and go down to our 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, and flip your chain over and catch that back bump and pull up a loop and yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over again, go into the next back bump. They should all be in a line now. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and repeat that again for your last leg of your double crochets together. And now you'll see that you have 4 loops on your hook. 3 double crochets that are halfway worked through, and a chain 3 that counts as a section. So now to complete it, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 stitches. And you've just worked your first section of stitches. And next, you're going to chain 1. And then you're going to wrap your hook twice. And then triple crochet into the next chain by yarning over twice and pulling back through 2 loops 3 times. And you're going to repeat that with a chain 1 and do another treble crochet into the next stitch. Making sure you catch that back loop. It's a little fiddly for the first row, but it pays off in the end. So there we've done our treble crochet. And for the next row, for the next section, we're going to chain 1. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to treble crochet into our next chain 2. And it'll be different this time because we're going to chain 1 again and work another treble crochet into that same spot. So we have a double treble crochet, chain 1, and another treble crochet stemming out of the same spot. You can see how we've worked up one side and we're starting to come down the other. So we're going to chain 1, work another treble crochet into the next chain, and repeat. And now this is where we're going to bring in our peaks that really make it pop and have a really nice symmetrical look. Chain 1, and we're going to be working a double crochet 7 together. So into our next back bump, we're going to start the first leg and repeat for the second, and repeat for the third, the fourth, the fifth, number 6, and this is going to be 7. Making sure you catch that back loop on all stitches. So now if we spread our loops out on our hook, you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the beginning double crochets and an 8th loop from the chain previous. So you're going to yarn over and pull through all 8 loops, and you can see that pulls up your work. So you're kind of already creating that chevron pattern. So we're going to chain 1 and work 2 and work a treble crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, work another treble crochet into the next stitch, and now we're going to work that peak again. So we're going to chain 1 and work a treble crochet, and then work a chain 1 and then work another treble crochet into the same spot, chain 1, and of course doing our second leg of the treble crochet peak. Chain 1, work 2 more treble crochets, chain 1 repeats. Catching that back loop. And now we're going to chain 1 and finish off our row, because we're going to have half of a decrease. If I lay it down right here, you can see. So we have half of a decrease, of decrease 4. And then that'll be continuing going straight up, and then you're coming over into a peak and going back down into a nice section of double crochet 7 together, and then repeating the peak. So for our last section, what we're going to do is that chain 1 and work a double crochet 4 together in the next or last 4 chains. But of course, you will have kept on repeating what I just showed you till the end of your chain. That was section 3, and this is going to be 4. Voila! You just finished the first row. That was the setup row. And if you turn it, now you know what I was talking about, the back loop. You get that beautiful arrowed edge, and if you flip it over to the top, you have that same arrowed edge. So that is why I enjoy working in the back loops. And the second row is where we're going to begin our repeat of 2 rows. And after here, you will be flying. So I'm going to start slowly because this is a new row. So we're going to start by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and this is going to be our stability row. So we're going to yarn over and double crochet in our first chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, going to yarn over, make another double crochet to the next treble crochet, and make another double crochet into the next chain 1 space, and you're going to keep making double crochets into every treble crochet and chain 1 space until you have gone and reached 1 chain space before you're about to begin and right where you're at your decrease. Okay, I have a couple left. Remember, I'm just double crocheting over our peak, so it's going to give us that subtle wave. Okay, so now I'm into my last spot, which is going to be a stitch. And now I have my chain space, my 7 double crochet together, and another chain space. So what I'm going to do to keep continuing the valley is by working a double crochet 2 together in the 2 chain spaces, completely just pretending that this 7 double crochet together isn't there. Just completely ignoring it and yarning over and pulling through all 3. and then continue working your double crochets across the top of your next peak, going into every single stitch and every single chain one space. And just remember, this second row that I'm showing you right now is going to be a consistent part of the pattern repeat. Okay, I've just done my peak stitch, my center double crochet. So now I'm going to continue working my way back down, just doing that same double crochet. And I have one more stitch that's going to be in a treble crochet right before our decrease. And now we're going to finish off our row by making a double crochet 2 together and our chain space on the top of our double crochet 4 together. Pull through 2 of that double crochet, yarn over. I'll show you that again. You got to be making sure you catch just that chain, just going around the chain, getting the half of that double crochet and going through the top 2 chains of your last stitch. And boom, you've done your second row. Now I'm just going to remind you again that this is only a little sample for the tutorial. This is 2 repeats, but if you're going to do the pattern on yarnspirations.com, it's going to be 13 repeats. Like, compare this to this, which is folded 4 times. It's folded in half and then folded in half again. Those 4 layers. That's how big your shell is going to be, and it's 24 inches down in that beautiful wave pattern. And I'm so excited to see what the next row is going to look like with the solid color of Caron Simply Soft. So let's get right into it. So we're going to start by working up a chain 3. Chain 1, chain 2, and chain 3. And we're going to work a double crochet 3 together, which will count as a 4 with this chain 3, and skip that first stitch and work over the next 3 stitches, just like we did on the first row, except now we're working into real stitches and not the back bumps of our chain. Now see, we're creating that straight edge from working half decreases, so we're going to chain 1, work a treble crochet into the next stitch, and we're going to chain 1 and work another treble crochet into the next stitch. So there should be 2 treble crochets and 2 chains, and then you're going to chain and then work your peak area where you're going to work a chain, treble crochet, a chain, treble crochet, and another chain. So that center peak is made up of 3 chains and 2 treble crochets spaced evenly. Okay, I've done 2 more treble crochet, chain 1, so now I'm going to chain 1 again, and now it's time to work that nice 7 double crochet decrease that really pulls in your work, that creates a apparent but subtle wave. So we're going to start by going through the first leg of our decrease. The next stitch is number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and yarn over and pull through all 8 loops, and chain 1 to pull it through and secure, and then repeat exactly what you did on the other side. So of course it's symmetrical with a chain 1 treble crochet, and then repeat that again so you have 2 repetitions. And now I'm getting to my peak, so I'm going to chain 1, wrap twice, treble crochet, chain 1, wrap twice, and treble crochet. And then I'm going to work another treble crochet, and and then work another section of our repeat. And now I'm going to chain 1, and over my last 4 stitches, work a 4 double crochet together, ignoring that chain 3 since it counts as a decrease with this next stitch, with your 4th leg. And over and pull through, and boom! You've done the 3rd row of your pattern repeat. I think it's turning out really nice in this solid color. I love the way it's looking. You have that stability row and the 2 open rows. And I'm going to show you one more repetition of the 2nd and the 3rd rows. And then I'm going to give you a little insight on the fringe. Okay, so I'll be going a little faster these next rows, but still explaining it to you how it's a repeat. So since we're repeating this right on here, we're going to start with chain 3 and working a double crochet in the chain space and in all of your next treble crochets and all of your next chain 1 spaces until you get to your last stitch before the chain 1 space connection decrease. And another important tip is make sure you're going around the chain and not going into the chain. Some crocheters, they like to go into the chain, but don't do that. Go around the chain. And that gives you that nice finished look. And if you go into the chain, it's not going to look finished. Okay, I'm to my decrease. So I'm going to make double crochet 2 together over my section and continue working my double crochets as normal until I get to where I'm going to finish up my last double crochet 2 together for the end of this 2nd round. Okay, we just finished up our peak. And now we have to do 2 more. 1 and 2. And now we're going to do our decrease in our last chain 1 space and our last stitch. Now for another repeat of our 3 before I show you the fringe, we're going to chain 3, 3, and work a 4 double crochet together by finishing up this one with the 3 legs and pulling through all loops, chaining 1, and working your set of 2 chain 1 treble crochets right before you meet up to the peak. And you can tell if your stitches are thrown off because as you see, every row when I'm at the peak, there's a peak and then a double crochet in the chain space, and my next peak will always should be worked out of that peak. Another one of my favorite things about this shawl is how quickly it works up. Once you get the first repetitions down, whatever yarn you're using, it works up so quickly because the rows are very open. You're using a 5.5 millimeter hook. Okay, I'm back in my decrease, so I'm going to work 2, my 3rd leg, halfway through this decrease, my 5th leg, number 6, number 7, and you can see we have our 7 legs, so I'm going to pull back through and finish up creating my treble crochets. The treble crochets are the row that creates the open, and then the double crochets are the rows that gives it the stability so you can really see the wave pattern from the treble crochets in the previous rows. Treble crochet, chain 1, and your next step is going to repeat it Okay, so I've just finished my treble crochet, and now it's time to, of course, do our final decrease for the edge. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to work a double crochet 4 together. That was our first leg, that was our second, our third, and our fourth. And you're going to yarn over and pull through all of them. And now you can look at your work. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of the pattern repeat, but you'll need to just keep repeating those 2 rows until you have reached 24 inches or however many inches you would like. And just keep doing that across your whole width. Of course, I just worked a little sample, but now it's time to get into the part that really makes this shawl what it is. It's my personal favorite part, the fringe, which you can customize to so many different ways that you'd like. And since, like I said earlier, you obviously don't want to cut hundreds of strings to 14 inches. You won't be able to do it in one quick snip. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Before I do that, I'm just going to go out a little ways, snip my Caron Simply Soft Harvest thread, and fasten off. But of course, your shawl will be much bigger than my little tutorial sample. Okay, so to work the fringe, you'll be cutting strands that are going to be 14 inches long. So when you divide 14 by 2, it's of course 7. So I cut myself a piece of 7-inch cardboard. It can be a little longer, like 7.5. Or you can even make it quite a bit longer, and then you can trim it down. So what I like to do is take my yarn, making sure it's coming from the center of your skein or your cake, self-striping yarn, whatever you like to use, so it comes out much smoother. And use my left hand to hold that strand at the bottom with my thumb, and I just wrap around my piece of cardboard. I'll go doing that over and over again, and you just keep wrapping and wrapping and wrapping, and at points it's nice to just stop and pull yourself out a good length of starter yarn, because it eats it up very quickly, and then keep wrapping and wrapping and keep doing that over and over again. It doesn't have to be perfect, you just got to keep wrapping it around. Then you kind of push them all together and keep wrapping around. You would of course be wrapping around a lot more for your full wrap, but I'm going to stop here and snip my yarn at the base. And now we're going to center our strings and lift them up. You can see there's the space between the cardboard. And insert your scissors. It doesn't have to be in the direct middle. It can be over here. It can be over here. Anywhere you'd like, because you'll just center your strings later on. But I just like to go in the middle. And then very carefully, not doing it in one big chomp, little by little, snip your yarn with the preferably sharp scissors, and you see every little snip, more strands come out. And then, boom. And then if you fold these strands away, take off our piece of cardboard, set that to the side. We have almost equal strands of our yarn, except for a couple very short ones, and that's just from the way that you wrap it around the cardboard. But once you take out those two, you have great lengths of yarn. So what you do for the pattern, I'll show you how the pattern does it and how I do it. For the pattern, you take 2 strands and take that off of your pile. And this is going to be a knotted fringe. So you put the 2 ends together and slide your finger down and create a loop. And you take your crochet hook with the right side of your work facing and insert into your chain. I like to go right under that nice sturdy chain from the first stitching and pull up a loop. And then to make the knotted fringe, we're going to yarn over and pull back up through. And look, it looks like a chain. And then you keep going up, and it's basically like a fasten knot, but then you pull tight. And look, it knots into fringe. And that is a thinner fringe, which your inspiration uses. And I like that look, but as a personal preference, I like my fringe to be really thick and full. So what I did is I used 5 strands instead of 2. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like with 5. So I'm taking, that was my number 3, 4, and 5. And as I pull them, I hold down my length of yarn. And I'm going to fold all of these in half. And I'll go down to the next chain space to show you the difference. And loop back and knot it the same way. You can kind of push them back with your finger. Loop around all of your strands. Pull back out. And pull tight. And if you just lay it down, you can see it's more than double the thickness. And I prefer that look, but you can do it however you would like. And that is how you make the summer lacy wrap. And I just think it's such a great pattern because it uses a self-striping yarn or a solid yarn. It looks both in great. And remember, I used Karen Cakes in the colorway Lavender Cake for this one. I made this for my mom as a special for her upcoming birthday because her birthday is on June 28th. So this is going to be her birthday present, but don't tell her. And I love the way that it's turning out in the solid using Karen Simply Soft and Harvest Red. And I can't wait to experience it and try it with all different yarns. And remember, if you're a beginner, I have a perfect video for you. It's called the Pickler Hat, and it's very simple. It uses a big hook, big yarn, and I can whip one up in 46 minutes. And thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and please make sure to like and subscribe to Jonah's Hands for more tutorials, and it really means a lot to me. So thank you to all my current subscribers for your support, and you're encouraging me to keep crocheting and keep spreading the love. Crochet away, friends, and one more thing, you can check out this shirt and many others along with other cool things like pre-ordering my pattern book on my website. You can pre-order my new pattern book that's coming out on my website, jonahhands.com, along with t-shirts with Crochet Away, Hello Crochet Friends, and many others, along with the new hand salve I have and several other products. So make sure to check that out, jonahhands.com. Thank you. Please make sure to subscribe. Crochet away, friends.